It was the skill of the emperors in ancient times. The knowledge of ZWDS was so powerful that it was reserved for use only by the royal court and its officials over 4,000 years. Commoners were forbidden to learn ZWDS on pain of death. Anyone who leaked the skill outside the emperor's circle was swiftly executed. In order to learn ZWDS, you had to be appointed as a royal astrologer. Besides testing scholars for their literary skills, the emperors had to check their ZWDS charts rigorously before they could be allowed to take up official positions in government. This practice was one of the key pillars of the Chinese civilization that helped them endure as a unified territory for thousands of years, far longer than any other empire on earth. When the last Qing dynasty finally fell in 1912 and ushered in the modern era of China, all the court astrologers were absorbed into the nationalist government. By this time, a number of commoners had also mastered this knowledge. Eventually, the nationalists were defeated by the Communist Army. The communists at that time adopted a harsh policy banning all forms of religion and metaphysics. The former court astrologers and those trained in ZWDS were forced to flee mainland China. They settled mostly in Taiwan and Hong Kong, where they began to spread the knowledge to the masses for fear of losing this skill over time. Because of this, the ZWDS scene is most vibrant in Taiwan and Hong Kong these days. In mainland China, there are comparatively far fewer masters in this knowledge. A lot of the content I have seen uses ZWDS to discuss a person's personality and character. However, this is actually an elementary approach. The true power of ZWDS lies in its ability to accurately forecast events in a person's life. ZWDS tells you exactly how to resolve difficult situations and maximize your destiny. By making these videos in English, I hope to further spread the sacred knowledge across the world. It is complex knowledge, and I try to simplify it as much as possible. ZWDS has changed my life, and I know more people's lives are going to be changed after learning it. After you have created your ZWDS birth chart, it would look something like this. There are 12 houses in total. The life house is the starting anchor point of the chart. The position of the life house varies from person to person, so yours probably is not in the same box as shown here. However, the other 11 houses are always laid out in a fixed sequence following the life house. Going in a clockwise direction, the next box is the parental house, followed by fortune, property, career, friend, travel, health, wealth, offspring, spouse, and finally, sibling. The life house represents you. It is your core character, values, and main motivations in life. It also determines the level of wealth that you can obtain in this lifetime. The parental house covers your parents, especially your father. It also covers your relationship with the elders in your life and higher authority, like the government and the banks. This house concerns your personal reputation. The fortune house represents your ancestors. It shows the ancestral karma you inherited from the family. This house concerns your pleasure pursuits and mode of enjoyment. It covers society at large. The property house covers your family situation, whether it is harmonious or not. It represents your immovable fixed assets, like real estate. Most importantly, this house demonstrates your ability to retain wealth. It can also be used to refer to your workplace. The career house is the second most important after life house. This house generates the luck of your entire lifetime. It shows how you deal with people and situations, the way you work. The friend house covers your superiors and clients at work. It covers your not-so-close friends and colleagues. This is the house of monetary transactions. We can also use this house to see the sort of karma you have with the spouse of your previous lifetime. The travel house covers the acquaintances that you encounter. That is basically anyone who are not covered by the other houses and has no specific connection with you. This house shows the first impression that people have of you and the quality of your luck during travels. The health house is the house of your past life karma. Our past lives are incredibly important as they affect our luck in the current lifetime. All major events that take place in the present have their root causes in the past life. This house also refers to your personal skills, your current workplace, and the condition of your health. The wealth house determines how you make and handle money. This house is crucial in showing the type of career you are predestined to have and how well you will do in the career. The offspring house covers your subordinates at work, your students, and fellow shareholders in your business. It governs your sexual ability and gratification. This house represents your children as well. The spousal house covers your marital situation. In a 50-50 equal business partnership, we look at this house. Problems in here can impact your career. The sibling house represents your mother, siblings, and close friends. It is the house of your personal achievements. This house governs your day-to-day cash flow. And we can also foresee problems with your marriage here. The first concept I'm going to talk about is the triangulation. Every house you see in the chart has its own triangulation. Using the life house as an example, we skip 3 houses in the clockwise direction and arrive at the career house. Skip 3 houses in the anti-clockwise direction, and we reach the wealth house. Each of the 3 houses have an effect on one another in the same triangle. Let's say we're discussing the career house. The stars in the life and wealth houses also affect the career house. Next, we have the concept of opposite houses. The stars in the house, diagonally opposite, shines back upon the original house. In the case of the life house, the opposite is the travel house. Combining these 2 concepts, for every house we're exploring, there are 4 houses in total that we have to consider. Remember the concept of triangulation and opposition. Let's take another example and say, we want to discuss the spousal house. The triangle consists of the fortune and travel houses, while the opposite is the career house. Now, we get into a bit of details and zoom into a random house. This is a sibling house taken from someone's birth chart. The main star is indicated at the top. Sometimes there are 2 main stars, other times there can be none at all. Then, the secondary stars are listed below the main. We always have to consider the overall interaction between the main and secondary stars to form a complete picture. In this example, the Ju-Men star is associated with speech. As the sibling house concerns his personal achievements, this indicates that he will make his career primarily with his talking abilities. People are fascinated by his words and are immensely attracted to his cause. However, the Ju-Men star also can involve lawsuits. It represents disagreements with his close associates and love partner. These are the major aspects that we can derive just from looking at the stars in this box. To find out exactly when these events will take place, we have to look at the 4 transformations. I will be covering the 4 transformations in a separate video, so keep a lookout for it. Next up, let's see the elements listed here. The elements consist of the heavenly stem and the earthly branch. The earthly branch, which is the same as the zodiac animals, is always in a fixed position in everyone's chart. Z-Water here is the zodiac pig. Since the Ju-Men star is a water-type star, it is right at home in this position. Therefore, the star is exceptionally bright and powerful. The heavenly stem can differ from chart to chart. This element is important as it triggers the 4 transformations, which create events and situations in our lives. Then we have the age range listed here. Our lives move from house to house. This means that during the ages of 15 to 24, he has stepped into the sibling house. This house thus becomes the life house of the 10-year phase. Let's zoom back out and talk about chart layering. We need to layer charts in order to foresee events in our life. This is the original birth chart. It is the first layer. The 10-year phase chart is the second layer. As you can see, the sibling house has become the life house of the second layer. Going in a clockwise direction, the other 11 houses are laid out in the same sequence as the birth chart, from parental all the way to sibling. Now, a point to note, this guy's chart moves in an anti-clockwise direction, meaning he steps into the sibling house after his childhood. Some people's charts move in a clockwise direction, meaning they step into the parental house right after childhood. So please take note which direction your life house moves. As I mentioned before, the zodiac is fixed in everyone's chart. Taking the example of 1989, it is the year of the snake. The box with the snake zodiac becomes the life house of that particular year. Again, using the same sequence of configuring the 12 houses, we have the complete chart for that individual year. This annual phase chart becomes the third layer. Here's an illustration of how these 3 charts are layered on top of each other. The birth chart always forms the base, followed by the 10-year chart in the middle, and finally the annual chart is on top. We can also have monthly, daily, and even hourly charts, but usually there is no need to have so many chart layers. It gets too confusing and meaningless to stack these many charts together. Having just these 3 layers here is more than adequate to make super accurate predictions. I have said before, the key to predicting events in your life is to make use of the 4 transformations. How the big picture works is that the transformations from the annual chart takes effect on the 10-year chart, while the transformations from the 10-year chart act upon the birth chart. These transformations are interconnected. I'm going to teach you a simple way to figure out what exactly is your mission in this lifetime. What are you born for? What is the focus point of this life for you? First, find out the elements of your birth year. Then, match the heavenly stem of your birth year to the corresponding house in your birth chart. For example, this person is born in 1971. It is the Shin Hai year, so the heavenly stem is Shin metal. This element appears in the fortune and life houses of his birth chart. What can we tell from this? As we recall, the fortune house represents his ancestral karma and society at large. The life house represents himself. Taking both houses together, we can ascertain that this man's lifelong motivation and focus is going to be on the development of himself, his contributions to society, and glorifying his ancestors' name. What kind of contribution he makes to society, and in what manner he glorifies his family's name, depend upon the stars and 4 transformations within the houses. This, by the way, is Elon Musk's birth chart. ZWDS is an incredibly powerful system that has been rigorously tested and refined over 4,000 years. Think about it. If this system is not accurate, the ancient people would have abandoned it long ago. Yet it has lasted longer than almost all civilizations in the world. Once you have mastered the concepts of ZWDS, you will come to the realization that everyone's life is very much predestined. Learning this knowledge provides you with a clear map on how to navigate your life properly and avoid the pitfalls. It also enables you to make better decisions and find better solutions. As much as I love the world and humanity, my aim is to spread this knowledge as wide as possible so that more people can learn how to fix their own problems. And the result is a much better world. Do check my site in the link below for more information on metaphysics.